Something strange is happening. A blackout, no cell service, planes falling from the sky, and a family in the middle of nowhere with no idea what's coming next. Leave the World Behind felt like fiction, until it didn't, because if you've been paying attention lately, you might have noticed this film isn't just a story. It's a warning, and some say it's a blueprint. So today we're diving deep into what's been called one of the most eerily predictive films in recent memory, and asking the question, what happens when fiction gets too close to reality? Welcome to Beyond the Frame, where fiction meets a reality we're not ready for. It starts with the grid. In the film, America's digital backbone collapses overnight. No internet, no calls, no access to anything. The country, once buzzing with connectivity, falls into eerie silence. Sound familiar? Because just this year, countries across the globe reported sudden communication failures, from regional internet blackouts to unexplained service crashes. Some blamed solar flares, others blamed hackers. A few even mentioned internal sabotage. But the truth? No one really knows. And that ambiguity is terrifying. We live in a time when every facet of our lives is tethered to the grid. From our bank accounts to hospital systems, flight paths to food distribution, it's all run by data. So when that data stream halts, what's left? And here's where it gets unsettling. The character GH in the film, a man with deep insights and quiet urgency, explains that the collapse isn't due to warheads or foreign enemies. No, it's something much more subtle. A reset. From within. Not an invasion. Not even a warning. Just a quiet, almost surgical disruption of life as we know it. A switch flipped and suddenly the world goes dark. Could that happen? Well, who's really guarding the switch? Let's shift to a detail that's often overlooked. Barack Obama, yes, the former president, served as executive producer of this film. That means he had creative influence. He helped shape the narrative, the tone, and the message. Now pause for a second and think. A former US president helps produce a movie about the sudden breakdown of American society. One that mirrors real-world vulnerabilities. That's not just interesting, it's chilling. Because many of the threats shown in the film, AI chaos, misinformation, societal breakdown, are the same warnings Obama gave in speeches during his presidency and after. So, did he help craft a warning? Or did he help soften the blow before impact? Some call this predictive programming, the theory that those in power seed ideas through pop culture so that when the real event happens, we're emotionally and mentally primed to accept it. Too wild? Maybe. But history is full of examples where fiction eerily preceded fact. And if you think we're done, buckle up. Let's talk transportation. In Leave the World Behind, self-driving cars fail spectacularly. GPS crashes, highways become chaos, panic spreads. Now consider this. Just last year, a self-driving taxi in San Francisco drove into wet cement. In Phoenix, a Waymo car blocked an entire intersection for hours. These aren't bugs, they're early warnings. Our dependence on AI for mobility is growing, but what happens when it fails? What happens when we can't override the system? We're told AI is smarter, safer, but maybe it's just easier to control. And the skies aren't safer either. In the movie, planes fall from the sky, not because of missiles, but because automation fails. One glitch, one corrupted signal. That's all it takes. Experts have raised red flags for years, pilots relying too much on autopilot. Planes becoming flying computers, vulnerable to code failures. Is it really so far-fetched? Imagine waking up and finding out every plane has been grounded, every car stopped, every signal lost. That's not science fiction anymore. But here's the part that hits closer to home. Trust breaks down. In the film, families stop believing each other. Neighbors grow suspicious. Paranoia spreads faster than any virus. And doesn't that sound familiar? We've seen how quickly misinformation spreads. One rumor online becomes gospel truth by morning. We've lived through moments when facts didn't matter, only fear. And fear is powerful. The movie doesn't show mobs or riots. It shows disconnection. It shows people shutting down emotionally because they no longer know what to believe. And when the truth becomes optional, chaos becomes inevitable. Another eerie detail? Nature revolts. Thousands of deer wandering through suburbs, birds flying in perfect, unnatural spirals. The world's rhythm suddenly off. In real life, there have been dozens of recent reports. dolphins beaching themselves without reason, bees disappearing, birds dropping midair. Scientists scramble for answers. Magnetic fields, solar activity, environmental collapse, or something deeper? Because when animals sense danger, they flee. What if they're sensing something we can't? Let's go deeper underground. Literally. In the movie, the elite know something's coming. They have safe houses, private warnings, bunkers. And in real life, billionaires are buying land in New Zealand. Companies are building luxury bunkers in former missile silos. Even tech CEOs are talking openly about collapse insurance. Why? What do they know that we don't? And more importantly, why don't they want us to know it? There are whispers online, leaked documents, speculations about simulations being run by think tanks. Even some financial institutions now model black swan collapse events. And those models? They look eerily like scenes from this film. Now, let's talk about the noise. In Leave the World Behind, the world isn't just offline, it's overloaded, with signals, static, confusion. The characters aren't simply cut off, they're disoriented, blasted with contradictory information, hints and fragments that lead nowhere. That's psychological warfare, and today's media landscape isn't much different. News feels like noise, social media feels like manipulation, conspiracies and truths blur together, not by accident, but by design. Because a confused public is an obedient one. And when you can't tell what's real, you stop asking questions. That's silence, that's control. And here's the kicker. The movie never gives us all the answers. There's no villain monologue, no final act reveal, no savior riding in, just fragments. And maybe that's the scariest part. Because life doesn't always tie up neatly. Sometimes the lights go out and no one tells you why. Sometimes the storm comes and you're not on the list. And sometimes fiction stops being fiction. So let's ask the uncomfortable question. Was this just entertainment or preparation? Did they try to tell us something before we were ready to hear it? Thanks for watching Beyond the Frame. If you've made it this far, ask yourself, is fiction just a mirror or a message? Because sometimes the most unbelievable stories are the ones already happening. And the truth, it's always just beyond the frame.